Sliders, what are they and how can you use them in code.org? Well, these things are actually incredibly useful and you have to keep watching to find out how. Welcome back to my channel Advaito MG. Today we are back into another coding video. In today's episode of this coding series, we are going to learn about sliders. Want to know what they are? Well, you're in luck. Let's do this, shall we? Now logged into code.org. And let's start by declaring or creating a slider first. To do this, we can just click on slider over here and then drag it to where we want it to be on the stage. I'll place it right in the center. Now let's learn about the components of a slider. First is obviously the ID, which is basically the name of our slider. I will just name it slider with a capital S. Next is the width and height, which is basically the size of our slider. The width is how long it is from left to right, and the height is how tall it is from top to bottom. If I increase the width, you can see the slider becomes longer on the stage. But if I decrease it, it becomes shorter. If I increase the height, you can see it goes down. What? How does this make any sense? Well, let me tell you. Actually, there is an invisible rectangle around our slider. This rectangle's height is increasing and the slider actually wants to stay in the center of this invisible rectangle. So, as a result, it appears to move down. Let's try decreasing the height. Look, there it goes up again. Now you can tell the height of an invisible rectangle by looking at this small triangle over here. Do you guys see it? If I increase the height, you can see the triangle moves down, meaning the invisible rectangle is growing taller and taller. And since the slider wants to stay in the center, it appears to go down as well. Next is the X and Y position, which is basically where our slider is positioned on the screen. The X position is left to right, while the Y position is from top to bottom. Increasing the X position moves the slider to the right, while decreasing it moves it to the left. Increasing the Y position moves the slider down, while decreasing the Y position moves the slider up. Next is the value, minimum value, maximum value, and step size. So, what do all of these things have in common? That's right, they're all related to the value on the slider. So, this value parameter is basically what value our slider will start on when we run the project. As a default, it is set to 50, but I will change it to 0. The minimum value is obviously the smallest value that we can go. By default, it is set to 0, but I will keep it the same. The maximum value parameter is the biggest value our slider can go to. By default, it is set to 100, but I will change it to 10. Finally, the step size is how much our slider value increases when we move this circle. By default, it is set to 1. But for example, let me set it to 3 and then run the project. Now you can see our slider moves a lot more. If I set it back to 1 and then run the project, you can see it moves a lot less. This is because the value is being increased by our step value. So last but not least for the slider is the hidden checkbox, which tells you if this slider will begin invisible when the project runs or visible when the project runs. I will check it and let's see what happens. Voila! The slider has disappeared. Now let me uncheck the checkbox. Boom! Here we have our beautiful slider. But do you guys want to know how we could even use this slider? I mean, what's the point of just having a slider if we can't even tell what value it is on? Well, if you want to learn about that, you'll have to wait for the next episode. That's basically it for this video. If you enjoyed and learned something new, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share and keep your eyes peeled for the next video where we learn how to extract text and values from sliders. Bye!